suspension. Sorry guys, we're doing this one take and I hear pots banging in the background. We just did dishes and it is insane right now. I know we still have cars driving by out here.
This is extremely raw, guys. I mean,
yeah,
we're still in camp. We're still having a good time, but we wanted to take this moment to kind of show you guys, or kind of like take the moment to demonstrate the differences between each one of our vehicles. So I hope you guys can appreciate the rawness of just having camp set up in the background.
So welcome back to Renegade Expedition. On today's video, we're going to do our very first ever beers and rigs talk. Now this is a really cool style video that we're trying for the first time. What's going to happen is we're basically going to let all the cameras roll. We're going to sit here and talk about our rigs. We're actually doing a versus video. On this trip we've had Danny's been joining us. He's had his 2019 Toyota Tacoma Off-Road. We obviously have Alan's ZR2 Bison, and we have my 2020 Gladiator Rubicon. Now, these are three of the most capable Overland vehicles you can buy on the market right now, between all the specs of them. Now, I do want to take a moment. Alan, Danny, and myself are going to talk about a few of the modifications we've done to the vehicles, and then we want to tell you about how they've been performing on this trip. Alan?
So I have a 2020 ZR2 Bison with the 2.8 liter Duramax diesel, and some of the modifications I've done, starting from the suspension, has been the peak off-road, peak suspension coilover conversion kit in the front, and then I have the peak suspension add leaf in the back, topping that off with Timbren active bump stops front and rear. Makes for an extremely plush ride. For tires, I have 285/70 R17 General Grabber ATX tires. I mean, this is the first trip that we've rolled these tires on, and they've performed flawlessly. Some of the other modifications include, Lightner rack, 23/0 walkabout 62 rooftop tent. I have their 270 awning as well. And then, because it's the AEV package, this already has front and rear bumpers. All I have to do is add a winch, which is exactly what I did. And it's been a very capable vehicle thus far.
Danny?
Thank you guys for the invitation.
I've
been actually having a very good time. It's been an experience of my life. Talking about my Toyota Tacoma. Toyota Tacoma has been actually in a change, and I'm actually thank Alan, which is the one who's been helping me adding all this equipment that I have in my Tacoma. I will start with the C4 bumper. Thank God it's actually there, and it's been great. I haven't used even the winch. The winch is Alan would tell me sometimes I forget about the stuff that I have. What winch we have we installed in the C4?
It was the Smitty built 9.5 synthetic winch, I believe.
That's actually great. It's been we haven't used it yet into a mode where we actually have gone into something to help somebody else's, but it's been great.
Yeah.
I have it. It's light. It's very easy to manage. I also have the Air 8. It's snorkeling. Yep, the snorkel. And if you can see behind me, I have the stuffed up rooftop. I also have a 8-gallon road shower, which
7 gallon.
It's a 7-gallon, guys.
7 gallon.
Okay, it's a 7-gallon.
Yep.
It's a great tank to have on the road, especially when you don't have anything, no water.
The water,
and it's been great for every single and detailed stuff that we have here. I keep going and going and going. I have so much in my truck, but time is actually what we need to do. And thank you guys again.
Well, I do know you also have the 3-inch iBox suspension.
That is correct.
Yep.
I do have it.
You're also running the 33-inch General Grabber ATX tires like Alan has.
That is correct, like what Alan has.
I've been kind of envious of y'all's tires on this trip.
And they have
so
performed amazing. It's not actually something that we have not said or an obstacle that we have actually to stop and just think about it. It's been great. This trip has been actually awesome, guys. It started actually from, up in Colorado, coming down to Utah.
Yep.
It's been amazing.
Yep.
It's been amazing.
They've definitely performed well. Oh no, Fear Pass.
Yeah.
So we decided to do a Fear Pass, and we made the unanimous decision to not air down. And between me and Danny, I was rolling on probably 42 psi, and those tires just ate all of those rocks. I was kind of concerned at first. I'm not gonna lie, but those tires perform so well. I mean, there's not even a mark on those things. Whereas before, I was running the KO2s. Had I had the KO2s aired up on that trail, I would have already been missing part of my tread at this point. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. So, phenomenal tires.
All right. And then I know a lot of you guys have seen the Gladiator in our Ozark video, but we've done a lot since then. It still has the AV 2-inch lift. Still running my same 37-inch Federal Explorer tires, the RTs, which they've been just staggeringly good. I still have my Lightner rack with the Alucab tent. I've added a ARB compressor in the bed so I can air up and down my tires with the Indeflate 4-tire inflation and deflation tools. I've added a Smittybilt Striker front bumper and a Warn Evo 12S winch, which is it's a big winch. I don't think we're ever going to have problems getting unstuck with that thing. All in all, the truck is still doing fantastic. I don't have any complaints about it. I have all the same attachments on the Lightner rack. If y'all haven't seen the video, it has the GearPod XL, the Rotopacks for the fuel and water, my Max Track mounts.
I think it's a GearPod.
GearPod.
I have the XL.
You do have the XL.
Yeah, you have.
I have just a regular GearPod. Thanks, thanks, Alan. But yeah, it's been a phenomenal truck. Now these 3 trucks have been. We've taken them from Texas so far. We went up to Durango, which is actually where my beer's been from that I'm drinking today. It's a Pinstripe Red Ale from Durango, Colorado. I wanted to try a local beer. And we've been up to Colorado. We've done part of the Alpine Loop. We've done a lot of high altitude camping. We're now out here at beautiful, beautiful Molly's Point in Utah. And I can't wait until we go out to Flagstaff for the Overland Expo tomorrow. We're heading out there.
Yep, leaving tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
I do want to talk a little bit about how these trucks actually compare to each other. They're 3 similar trucks. They're all mid-sized trucks on paper, but they all handle the terrain, the workload, just everything really completely different. I know Alan's, as he said, he has a diesel. I have actually a 3.6 gasoline engine. You have the gasoline engine as well.
Yeah, the V6 3.6.
6.
It's a 3.6 as well.
Yeah.
Which I will say, we found out that Danny's truck has a lot more top end than the Gladiator does. We found that out overtaking some vehicles on the highway. A little bit better on the low end on the Gladiator, but man, it screams when you get those RPMs up on that Tacoma.
On that Tacoma, yep.
It really moves.
It does.
It moves in the high end RPMs. Very well.
We just can't keep up with that.
We have to keep. Yeah, but the point is that on that matter, you have to go ahead and change from automatic or from D all the way down to shaft, so that way it will perform. Otherwise, to manual mode. To that way. It will actually pick up. Otherwise, it will keep changing the gears. Low, high. And on that point, if you want to go ahead and save energy, you have to go ahead and do that. So that way you can actually keep it in certain RPMs and you can just follow up. Because changing up and down, it will be
rough.
Yeah. And also for the transmission, it will be a killing.
Yeah.
How did it do on engineer pass that we did? How would you say it did?
It was pretty smooth. We have some obstacles.
Yeah, we did.
Very good, and you will see it on the video, guys, that I was afraid of. And when we actually had to go ahead and change to from high,
From four high.
four high to four low.
and lock it.
And in lock it, I
Lock the
was
rear.
like going, okay, here we go now. This is actually going to be the test.
Yeah.
And he performed.
They perform well.
He performed well. Obviously, I can actually say this to you. That Alan's been actually the leader of the group on every adventure that we have gone. And
He is our
so
point
he's been
vehicle.
leading in every access that we actually get. So I try to go ahead and follow his path. And sometimes he goes way off, and I will, I got to go ahead and do the other way. Obviously, his truck sees the things that I see differently. And my truck is performing differently than what your truck is performing. So we have to go ahead and change the path. And this is actually the one that we have actually learned. And
Yeah.
a little bit about our
each vehicle.
Each vehicle. We have learned a little bit
They
more.
handled
about
the
it.
trails all completely
All
different. That's for
completely
sure.
very well.
I know Alan's Bison is just a beast with that independent front suspension and those shocks, man. Those shocks.
It's not just the shocks, man. At this point, the fact that I upgraded bump stops for actually coming out here on this trip was the huge game changer, guys. I mean, we were on the trail yesterday in Ophir, and not airing down, the ride was still incredibly comfortable. My daughter fell asleep throughout the entire trail run on Ophir Pass.
Imagine.
So that
Was
should tell
rough.
you something. We were extremely comfortable the entire time.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the Gladiator's a whole different beast. We all know Jeeps and their trail capability. I handled every obstacle kind of with ease.
Yep.
I even chose some harder paths just to.
And it's actually
Just to try it.
Just to try it.
Yeah.
And
you still came on.
there
top
was
of it.
I hope this comes up in the video. I was actually doing it, and he actually decided to go to the hardest point of
he took the hard line.
The hard line.
Yeah.
And I went like, oh my goodness. And he goes, I had to do it then.
Now, one of the things I don't like about the Gladiator on that aspect is it is front solid axles.
Axle.
Or, front solid axles in front and rear. It's not as smooth on those washboards as you guys were. Y'all were just skipping right
just
through with
cruising.
ease,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I'm sitting there just rocking back and forth. And I
were
think
just cruising
Jeep
for
really
sure.
missed the mark with their shocks in the rear.
What is that?
They're just spongy.
Spongy?
They rock too much. The valving just isn't quite right. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Gladiator. You do get Fox suspension front and rear on that. And the lift kit I did was a budget boost, so I could keep that. What was supposed to be great suspension, Fox suspension, so I could keep that, and it just moved things around to make it work, fix some geometry, things like that. But even then, those rear shocks just aren't up to par. The fronts are amazing, especially when I disconnect the sway bar. It rides almost like an independent front suspension vehicle.
Yep.
Just the rear suspension on it, I'm not happy with it. Now, the beauty of that is that's something we can upgrade in the future.
Absolutely.
Absolutely can upgrade it. It's not an issue. But just to touch base on the trails again, it handled literally everything we threw at it, and it didn't even bat an eyelash. On that trail, I don't remember even locking once. I did switch to 4-low because I am right at gross vehicle weight, which I don't know if any of you are familiar with overlanding. You do carry a lot of weight with you, and it does put strain on the engine, transmission, everything, suspension. Sorry guys, we're doing this one take and I hear pots banging in the background. We just did dishes and it is insane right now. I know we still have cars driving by out here.
This is extremely raw, guys. I mean,
Yeah,
we're still in camp. We're still having a good time, but we wanted to take this moment to kind of show you guys, or kind of like take the moment to demonstrate the differences between each one of our vehicles. So I hope you guys can appreciate the rawness of just having camp set up in the background.
So, Alan, I do want to say, is there anything you would like to improve on that, on the Bison, to make it a little bit more trail worthy, or make the washboard roads or the shaky roads out here in Utah a little bit more manageable? Is there anything you would like to improve on the vehicle, or has it just been flawless?
We were a little interrupted, guys. Again, this is completely raw, so now the girls are gone, and they had to attend to
A puppy and a baby?
a puppy and a
Puppy and a
baby.
baby, yep.
So we're going to continue to push forward. because again, this is beer and rig talk. So
Speaking of which, I know we were leaving off on what you would like to change on your Bison.
Yep.
What kind of beers are y'all drinking?
So good point, man. I was actually I forgot to say something earlier. So me and Danny are both big fans of Dos Equis. I don't know what it is.
Not in English. It's in
It's a
Spanish.
lager.
Dos Equis.
Dos
Dos
Equis.
Equis.
No
Two
two
X's.
No,
No
no,
two
no, no.
X's.
We call it Dos Equis.
It's Dos Equis.
It's Dos Equis.
Get it right. Okay, so
What would you change on that Bison?
Man,
it's
it's-
almost perfect, but
it's freaking hard. It's a hard question. It's not something I think about often. But I think the only thing that I would do differently, and AEV if you're listening, or even GM if you're listening, can you stop putting those shock mounts so low? Because I keep getting hung up on stuff, and having a front and rear locker is awesome until you get hung up on those rear shock mounts, and it's always a ego check. You think you're doing
Doing
so
amazing.
well on an obstacle, and all of a sudden
thud.
you hear thud, and you're just stuck. So I think that's one of the only things I change on that truck. Everything else is
I know whenever I follow
pretty
you,
great.
that's the one just big glaring thing I see under that truck are those shock
those
mounts.
shock
It's-
mounts, man. Yeah, they kill me.
It's not just that where they're located, it's how far down that they're positioned.
Yeah.
Position, yeah.
Yep.
Like we're talking good, what, 3 inches at least?
Yep. And it sucks, man, because even if they moved it outward to like right next to the tire, that would give me a lot more clearance because the tire would go over an obstacle.
Yep.
Also elevating that shock mount. So it is what it is. I put some shock skid plates under there, and I know now to
helps.
take lines that will clear those shock mounts. But it's just one of those things that
Something you have to adjust for.
exactly, and it really gets under my skin, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
And Danny, what are some of the things you'd want to change on that Tacoma? I know the Tacoma is a proven beast out on the trails. It's a great, reliable vehicle, especially for what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it has its shortcomings like every other vehicle. What would you like
Right.
to change on it? If you could talk to Toyota, what would you change?
I would probably say, about the load that I actually have, which is not much, the gears are shifting too much to where we actually were going high, in a high speed, if you want to call it.
So on an incline,
And an incline,
On an
it was
incline,
actually demanding, and then it was lowing and going over and back and forth.
So that has a 6-speed transmission, right?
Six-
Six-speed transmission.
Okay.
So that's actually one of the negatives I've seen, and I felt about it though. I don't know if there's something that they can do about the transmission, but even if I actually said something to Toyota, that's probably what they said. This is actually what it is, and
Well,
then
okay,
on
so-
all the stuff that I have,
Yeah.
because mine is actually a 4x4 off-road.
yeah,
Mhm.
a
And they
TRD,
probably will
like
say,
TRD off-road.
TRD off-road,
Uh-huh.
and they probably will say to me, well, you go to the next step. It's
Yeah.
actually better. But guys, this is not actually a very inexpensive car. It's a very expensive
Yeah, the
vehicle,
Tacomas
but you
aren't
actually
cheap.
they're trying to perform.
Yeah.
And if I want to go ahead and talk good about it, they got to go ahead and come up with something good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they actually can go basic.
Yeah.
It's not actually it can go like extra. We got to go ahead and
Fix the small things.
fix the
Just fix
small
the small
things into something
Something competitive.
Because,
competitive. I will
and,
say
and,
that.
And like we all know, guys. Toyota makes things
Oh
very reliable, and by doing so, they make things under power. Like for example, they know that if you give an engine too much power,
Mhm.
you might shorten the life of the engine
Okay.
because you're always flooring.
Flooring,
You know what I
yep.
mean? So, in some areas it makes sense, and in some areas they're just like, okay, come on, it's 2021. Does the Toyota Tacoma really need a 6-speed transmission?
No.
No, I think it definitely needs more gears in that
A
transmission.
good
to be
8-speed or even a 9-speed. The Bronco has 10 speeds now.
Exactly. So, for example, your Gladiator is a what?
8-speed.
An 8-speed, right? And you could turn those 37s
Oh yeah, all day.
all day.
And that's with the stock 14 gears. Now, could I benefit from 48s? Yes, but it comes stock with 33-inch tires with 410s. I
Yeah.
can climb anything, keep my speed perfect. I can put 35s on and
Yeah.
still be perfect as if it was factory.
Yeah.
Let me
And-
ask you this: Do you have turbo in your
Nope.
car? No, but
Nope,
you do.
just a V6.
I have a- yeah, the turbo
how
diesel.
you feel about the turbo?
You know, guys, so during those inclines, guys, we pretty much stayed in the 6th gear even all the way up,
See?
unless we
All that
absolutely needed it.
All
so
that torque, yeah.
it would only downshift to fifth, and in a one instance to fourth gear, when we were going up an extremely steep grade, doing about 65 miles an hour. That's when it would downshift into fifth and fourth gear. But other than that, it would just stay in sixth gear, going all the way up.
Yeah, that Bison is that diesel with that setup. I'm sad to see it going. I don't know why they're doing away with it. I want to say in 2022, you wouldn't even be able to get the diesel anymore, and it makes no sense to me.
Yep.
Because you have just so much power and torque that it doesn't. You have a 6-speed transmission.
I do.
But it doesn't require it to shift much because you have all that torque.
Yeah.
Whereas Danny and I know there was sometimes I have an 8-speed transmission, but I'd find myself all the way down in third gear,
just
climbing that same hill you were climbing
on the incline
on fourth and fifth, and just trying to keep up with you guys.
Yeah. Now, I will tell you guys this: the issue with modern day diesels is DEF. And as you guys know, we had to stop in Telluride to pick up some DEF because I was kind of running low. My depth range, depending on how I drive, is about 2,500 miles. It's not a lot, guys. So definitely finding a place to buy DEF is going to be one of those things that you will have to take into consideration if you do go with the diesel or modern day diesel truck. I mean, including the Gladiator with the diesel, you have to take DEF into consideration.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That is actually
So it's one of the
thing,
one of the cons, guys. Like these guys, I mean, petrol engines are always going to be the #1 engine across the world. You know,
until electric.
I was
Until
about
electric.
to mention that.
You know
That's
what?
going
I was
to be
about-
amazing.
I was
Electric's
about to
gonna be
mention. You know, I
insane.
think that's probably why they actually either that's going to change on the Bison.
Yep.
Because they're probably going to go the production of electric. Maybe.
Yeah. Electric is.
Electric, it will be actually the next step.
I love my petrol engine. I love hearing it rev up, but you can't deny that just torque of an electric engine.
The instant torque.
The instant torque. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Like,
then it
oh
will
my
be
God.
how far you can go with electric.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. And that's
so-
one of the things that, you know, I know the Overland community is kind of like, it's a controversial subject, guys, as far as
It is.
how we feel about electric vehicles, but let's give it 2 years, you know, let's give it 2 years, let's give it, you know,
Yeah.
some time to develop.
Look at
and-
batteries in the last 5 years. They've
They're going.
They've come a long way.
They're
They've
insane
gone a
now.
long
Yeah,
way. Yep.
they've come a long way.
Lithium-ion technologies that progressed leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
You just-
So, anyway, digressing back into the topic,
Yes.
what is something you would like to change, Andy, about
Gladiator. Gladiator.
All right.
let's hear it.
On the trail, the Gladiator is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yep.
I wish they would have done better on the shocks.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, I can't complain about the gearing. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It came with 33-inch tires. I could put 35s on. I chose to go to 37
You did.
and not re-gear. So that's on me. But even then, even turning the 37s on the highway, I'm still have an 8-speed transmission. I still use my 8th gear on the highway with 37s.
You do.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't say anything bad about it.
Yeah.
The biggest place that they messed up was the suspension on the rear. That was supposed to be a highly tuned suspension for the Rubicon, Fox tuned suspension for the Rubicon, and it misses the mark.
Now, well, okay, so what if they tuned it for a truck or
Not
a
carrying.
Jeep not
Yeah.
carrying load? So
It still rocked back and forth.
it still rocks back and forth.
Even with when it was factory, I hit a lot of trails in the beginning when I very first got it, as most people do when they get Jeeps.
Yeah.
Well, people who like to do what we do.
Yeah.
You like to test your equipment, see what it can and can't do, and
Yeah.
it still rocked back and forth.
Yeah.
I did put reverse sway bar disconnects on it. That might help a little bit.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it. Maybe I should. But even then, the shocks just don't match up.
Yeah.
Let me bring you this up. I remember when we were going climbing up, and you were saying, "Hey, I don't know, it's locking up."
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
That, that is
I
a
wanna
good
know.
point.
Yep.
So we were driving from Fort Worth to Colorado. We're going just north of Durango to go camp the first night. And I ran into a problem I've never had on the Jeep, and it's actually a pretty common problem for the Jeep community because I've seen people talking about it. My rear locker, which never turned, you can't even turn it on when it's in too high, but it was coming on at highway speed. I was doing 65 miles per hour, and it was coming on. Now, going by everything all the research I've done prior, seeing other people having this issue. It's an issue with the rear locker sensor, actually.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just one of those things that I wish was correct. But keep in mind, this truck, they released it where you can buy it in 2019. It's a 2020. The 2020 year model is the first year of the truck.
Yeah.
You're gonna have your first year gremlins.
Right.
You are. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
They do have a fix for it now. You can take it into the dealer and get your. They actually, don't quote me on it, but I think they replaced the whole rear axle.
Oh,
wow.
Jesus.
The whole rear end on the truck.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least
It's all covered under warranty.
Yeah, I mean, at least they're
But
trying to do right by the.
I was about to say, at least they actually want to keep up on.
Also,
keep
the same
it
thing
on.
for the rear wheel seals we've been having trouble with on the Gladiators.
Really?
Okay.
Okay.
The rear wheel seals have been leaking, and they end up replacing just the whole rear axle
The whole wow.
over a seal.
Can you? You should. They
Don't
should
know
give
how
you
they're
the
making money
axle or
there,
something, yeah. I was gonna say, I'm sure a crawler, a buggy somewhere is like waiting for a JL or a JT.
Sorry, guys. That was actually one of our
Cameras.
other cameras just turning off, and it kind of caught us off guard.
So anyway, that's what. I'm sure a crawler somewhere, a guy in his garage right now building a buggy is like, please give me those Dana 44s.
And they're Dana 44 HD, so
HDs.
they're amazing axles.
They're
but-
pretty close to Dana 60s now.
Yeah.
I know they're 35
Not
spline.
quite, but yeah,
Because they're 35 spline.
amazing. Don't quote me on it.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm sure they are, but man.
You know. What do
What
you
is
wanna
something
do?
that you like about your truck?
So I'll lead them
about
off.
my truck.
Like, what's one of your favorite? That's
Ooh.
what we're going to talk about now. The pros. Like, what's better?
No, what I like
Or
about my
what
truck
you like about it? Yeah.
is the performance that it's doing.
Yeah.
The
handling
performance
everything.
is handling. I mean, it's you have a vehicle that is made specifically
For trails.
For trails.
Yeah.
And we have gone into spaces where you have actually gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we actually go with Chevy has put a lot of thoughts into the Bison to go over. And yeah, I like the way it's being performed. I would probably say about the cabin. The cabin is a little, you know, yeah, we got to go ahead and do something. The other day, actually, Alan asked me if I actually had the altitude. I don't have no altitude. I don't have no. There was actually another. He was asking me, "Hey, Daniel, can you check and see how the pressure of the oil it is?" And I said, "I don't have that either. I have a basic stuff, which it will be nice to go ahead and, because if you're performing off-road, you have to check all those gauges, making sure that you actually have the right amount of pressure, because you don't know if your transmission or your engine is about to explode."
Alan, does the Bison have like off-road pages
They do.
They do.
where it just gives you all your gauges right then and there?
Yep. So I can see the angle, the pitch, and the angle of roll and all that stuff. You can definitely see that, and then I can also see when my rear locker locks up, where my front locker locks up, and then also the degree of the tires turning, so I know exactly where, what degree to turn my tires and leave them at. When I am going over an obstacle, it actually reads that quite accurately.
I don't.
And see, the Gladiator has all that too. It
Yeah,
tells
there
me
you go.
full range of gauges, and then it also gives me all the off camber degrees. It gives me steering angle degrees, everything as well. So that is somewhere where Toyota could probably step up and catch up.
I was about to say, yeah.
But all in all, I will say this about the Tacoma, that Jeeps are purpose-built for going off-road.
Yep.
Plain and simple. The Bison was co-designed with AV, American Expedition Vehicles, for doing exactly what we do.
Right.
And guess what? That Toyota Off-Road is keeping up with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I will give it that.
I know, for the fact that it doesn't have a front locker. I mean, granted, we haven't needed to use. You haven't needed to use a front locker, which is totally okay. But the fact that you and I have a front locker in our vehicles is just incredible.
The only two trucks on the market with a front locker.
Yep. From factory.
From factory, mid-size.
Mid-size truck.
It is a mid-size truck.
Yep.
Let's put it like that. It's a mid-size.
But that Tacoma's been
been
kicking
awesome.
butt, man.
Yeah,
It's been
I
keeping
think
up, man.
It's been keeping up,
Like,
which is, I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
But again, it needs just that right there for competing with the American
Yeah.
vehicles.
Yep,
I mean,
absolutely.
off-road, okay?
Absolutely.
Now, the Tacoma has been keeping up with ours. Alan, what are some of the absolute perks you like about the AV?
About the Bison, oh, man, there's so many.
It's a fantastic truck.
Just out of the box, guys. I mean, AEV built this truck. If a company like AEV is noticing a vehicle like the ZR2 and and is willing to put that effort into developing aftermarket parts of a high caliber, because let's face it, AEV is a premium company. I mean, they have high mark fender flares for just the front. It's almost $700. They're definitely a premium company. So for a company like AEV to take note of the ZR2 enough to co-develop accessories with GM, that's a pretty big. That's a pretty big statement.
Yeah, definitely is.
But as far as, I mean, I love the diesel engine, guys. I know some people aren't fans of the diesel. I get it. We have had some scares with emissions, like DEF. We have had. I think last year you and I were on a trip out here, and
Yes,
I kept getting a low quality DEF fluid message.
And we had to go to the dealer.
And we had to go to the dealership in Flagstaff from Dallas to address that. Now it turned out I bought some really old DEF fluid, and that's what was triggering that light.
Triggering the light.
So all we did was pretty much flush the system. We just kept putting, or pouring new DEF in it until it just completely bleeded out of the system, and that.
And that.
But the
solved
fact
issue.
that the truck could have been completely gone into limp mode on a 3,000-mile trip because of bad quality DEF.
Yeah, that's scary.
That's scary.
That is scary.
That is scary, guys. I'm not
That's a
gonna lie.
very good point. That's a very good
That
point.
is scary.
Because
And
you don't know if you're in the middle of nowhere and
Yep.
you actually have an end with it.
Yep.
What are you gonna do?
there's not a lot you can do, guys.
Yep.
So
Now, I do want to say, even on that though, yes, the DEF can be scary.
Yep.
But you can't buy a more expedition-ready vehicle.
absolutely.
Not even the Gladiator. You can't buy a more expedition-ready vehicle than the Bison.
Yep.
Between it has all the same underneath protection. You get skid plates, you get rock rails, you get everything you need
Out of the box.
out of the box.
Out of the box.
Yeah.
You're right.
And you get front independent suspension, which for expedition travel is so nice.
Yep.
It's way better than solid axles. Yes, so I will argue all day that solid axles are amazing if you're off-roading.
If you're off-roading.
But the day-to-day driving, the steering wheel wandering,
Yep.
it's not great for highway use.
I think I want to bring this up. We always like to go ahead and keep something simple, pay what we have, you
Yeah.
know, and you don't want to go ahead and add anything to the vehicle.
Yep.
In this case, it will be the Bison. It will
Yep.
be your vehicle.
Yeah, the
It will be
Gladiator's good
something
too.
that you actually just, out of the box, you actually get on, and you know where to go, and it will be ready to go.
I've done such few
You know?
modifications to the Gladiator, and look where I am.
Yep.
There you go. I had to do a little bit more on my Tacoma than you all's.
Yep.
I had to go ahead and lift it up,
With
3
suspension.
inches for
Yep.
suspension,
Yep.
because the first time that we actually came over without the suspension, I had a little issues. I had little issues, not big issues, that the Bison actually just went cruising. I was actually
man.
the one who was
But I'll give
actually
you this.
having, yeah,
You did Emogene Pass stock.
right,
You did stock. You did it with stock factory tires.
right.
You did it with stock suspension.
But
You did it with all you had was a rooftop tent, and
Rooftop
you
tent.
did Emogene Pass.
but this is the point. I was actually scratching my
You were.
my under. Yeah, that's the reason why
You
we
were,
decided, hey, let's go ahead and lift it up
It's good
3 inches more,
Yep.
and that'll solve your
Yep.
issue.
Scratching the
It's-
unders.
it's
I
under
don't want
the
to talk
unders.
about that.
I know, right?
Those long
Breakover
wheelbases.
is terrible.
Yeah,
That is so bad.
Sorry, guys, but I had to bring it on.
No,
So that's actually what it was. And then after that, okay, the bumper was actually hidden also because it was too low.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
The bumper. Once we actually got the
Upgraded the
C4,
bumper.
Yep.
and guys,
It was a
I
game
haven't
changer.
even. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a game changer.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything from what we have gone on this trip.
Yeah.
Then that I heard it in the back. I mean, about a year ago. It was a
Yep.
year ago.
It was a year ago.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to change this a little bit, I have a question for each of you guys.
Okay.
Of our 3 vehicles, if you can go out tomorrow and start over and buy one of the 3 vehicles, which one would you buy?
The Bison.
That's,
The Bison.
that's a good point. It's a good point. I don't know if I can actually, because I've been tempted. I like diesel engines.
Yep.
I thought, and I probably would say this, I brought the attention to the diesel engines to Alan. We went over to the dealership of Chevy. Unfortunately, because I think the production was not actually on that end, and they only had one on that dealership.
Yep.
We couldn't test drive.
Oh no.
Because it was actually the battery was dead, and we were looking like, what the heck?
Yeah,
I mean, we're trying to go ahead and buy
At the
something like
dealership,
that.
the battery
So
was
that
dead.
did leave a sour taste in our mouth.
Sour taste in the
Because
mouth.
we're just,
A year
That is so
after, they came out with this baby right here.
the Bison. Yeah.
Okay, and we had to chase that baby right there.
I know y'all drove a long
We had to
way
chase
get
that
the
baby.
Bison.
Once
found
we
it, yeah.
found it, we were even decided to go up to Tennessee.
We were willing to drive
get
to
it. We were in
Tennessee.
a drive to
Yeah.
get it. And once we actually, I mean, that car is amazing.
It is.
It
Besides,
is.
because I like diesel engines. I
Yeah.
grew up with diesel.
Now-
Power is actually
camera?
what they have.
Go check.
I don't know which one that was. Good.
We're still.
Sorry, guys.
Oh no, you're fine. I mean, it's like it is what it is.
We just had to check.
And then you actually have your Chevy.
Or
Talk
his,
about how the transition went on yours.
Oh, from my GMC to
Yeah,
the Gladiator.
to the Gladiator.
Because a lot of you guys don't know.
Don't know.
Before the
Before anything.
before the Gladiator, while Julie had the Renegade, you had a
2018 GMC Gladiator. Or no. I love my Gladiator.
Yeah, there you go.
I
That's
had
why.
GMC Sierra SLT, and that thing was fully loaded to the T. Like, it had the nice 20-inch wheels, the amazing suspension, all the room in the world inside.
Oh,
but
yeah. There you go.
mine was only a rear-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And after we got the Renegade, I really caught the off-road bug.
Yep.
And something I'd never done before in my past. And
And then you guys made the biggest mistake of your lives.
what's that?
Uh,
What's that?
making me your friend. Worst financial decision
Because
ever.
once you
Oh my
actually
God.
got into that,
Yeah.
boom, game change.
Yep.
But you know, this is actually what it is. We're actually in the middle of a
Beautiful.
beautiful place
Oh,
that
God,
you
yeah.
cannot imagine how to get up here. And we were actually in places that not even, it had to be a true 4x4 car.
Yeah.
And that's what they said.
Yeah.
Engineer Pass is
Engineer-
a true.
High
It was a
clearance,
true, that was a
4x4
trail.
4x4 true, yeah. And I have experience for the last year or so that I've been actually with Alan going and visiting stuff. And this is my first time with you, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It is.
It's awesome.
That's
And
what this is
I was just
about,
talking
though.
to my daughter, which is it was Alan's
wife.
wife.
Christy.
Yeah, so for
Christy.
context, this is
and
my
we said,
father-in-law.
yeah, and so this is actually what we said. This is free.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
We
and
haven't had to pay to
the view,
sleep anywhere.
I know, right? And the view of it is priceless, guys.
I know,
It is priceless.
Look at Monument Valley back
Right.
there. I know you guys can't see this. If
But-
I can remember, I'll get y'all some B-roll. But we got Monument Valley back over here. We got the Valley of the Gods right over here back behind us.
And then over there somewhere is like Arizona.
Arizona.
So,
Yeah,
But what I'm
it's
trying to
amazing
say
out
is
here.
you cannot actually pay. It's priceless.
Yeah, it is priceless.
It's priceless, and it's actually something that this is the moment that you enjoy in life. And for me, guys, this is actually life.
yeah.
It is.
And the end
That's
of
what
it,
living's about.
the end of it, of having all these vehicles
Yeah.
that you see behind us, is because we like the natural stuff.
Yeah.
We love the natural stuff.
Yep.
We love visiting, and we don't know how much we have until we experience it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Right?
That's true.
And
Yeah.
that's
I
what
think,
it is.
I think that right there is a perfect place to end this. At the end of the day, we are all out here. We've all done the exact same trip, had the exact same experiences, and we've done it all in 3 very different vehicles, other than the fact that they're all mid-size.
Mhm.
It's not really a which one is better than the other. It's which one is more comfortable for you. Do you want the reliability of a Toyota? Do you want that expedition designed from AV Bison? Or do you want something you can rock crawl and
climb over a mountain.
Climb
And
over a
then
mountain.
Literally
climb over
Yeah,
a mountain
literally.
and then still come out here in a Gladiator.
Yeah.
It's really up to you
Yeah.
on what you want. I know I personally like the Gladiator. You love your Tacoma.
I love my Tacoma.
Alan loves his
Love his
Bison.
Bison.
We'll argue our own vehicles every day of the week.
Really biased forever.
But we're all in the same place.
Yeah.
And don't let people tell you bought the wrong vehicle. I saw a Renegade, a Jeep Renegade drive by earlier. Beautiful Renegade, by the way. But it drove by earlier, no problems. And we saw adventure bikes drive by. There's a van lifestyle van over there, probably about, what, quarter mile from us?
Yep.
Don't let people tell you you're buying the wrong vehicle. Just learn how to drive it yourself, feel comfortable in it, and build it the way you want. And that's what all of this is about.
Yep. Absolutely.
And on that bombshell, I would like to end this, and we will definitely see you
I
guys.
will raise my hand like if we actually in a class. If you ever want, if you have a question or whatever you want in life, just follow us. Follow
Yes.
them, okay? I bet you they will be more than glad to help you out.
Yep.
Even if you're not living in Dallas, if you live up in North Dakota, if you live in Colorado, you live anywhere in California, just
Reach
follow
out to
them.
us.
Reach out to us.
Reach
Yeah,
to
we're
them.
more than happy to
and
help
they
you
will
guys.
be happy to
Yeah.
help you,
Yep.
so you can enjoy this moment that we always have. And this is actually a one-time lifetime, if you want to call it
Once
like
in a
that.
lifetime.
Once
Yep.
in a lifetime.
Yep.
I'm sorry to say it. I mean, once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Because at this moment, we don't have any clouds.
No,
we
we
don't
don't.
have
Wow, that's
anything.
beautiful.
There's no
The
clouds in
weather,
the sky.
the weather is
Uh,
perfect. You cannot actually imagine. It's mid-September. It's almost at the end of September, but this is the time of the year for me
absolutely.
that it's amazing.
It is. I'm out here in shorts.
Yep.
In this case, flip-flops, because we went hiked earlier. And
Yeah.
I need to get out my hiking boots.
Temperature-wise, it's 75.
Temperature-wise, it's
Oh,
75.
Temperature-wise, it's perfect.
perfect.
Yep.
It's not too hot, not too
too
cold.
cold.
It's amazing.
And I'm sorry, I cut you off, but go ahead. I wanted to say that.
No, I appreciate that. And as I was saying, if you guys like what we've been doing, and if you do need any help, reach out to us. We have an Instagram, we have Facebook, we have our own website, renegadeexpedition.com. Go check those out. And if you really like this video, hit the like and subscribe button. And we'll be more than happy to keep continuing to put out content for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this, and until next time, bye.
Bye.